From our studios at the corner of 8th and Walton in Bentonville, Arkansas, welcome to Saturday Morning Meeting, where we cover Walmart, Sam's Club, and the consumer product companies that are represented on the racks and shelves throughout the country and around the world. I'm Derek Ridenoure, and our focus is on the insights, trends, and best practices to help you as a supplier grow your business with the world's largest retailer. Coming up today, we will be talking with Keith Anderson, Vice President of Retail Net Group, about Black Friday and who he thinks the big winners will be. And reviewing this week's headlines with me are Ken Simpson and Andy Schuch. But first, the headlines. ABC News reports that Walmart has big plans for managing its Black Friday crowds, a major concern for retailers since a Walmart associate was killed during a Black Friday opening 5 years ago. Walmart began matching competitors' Christmas ad prices earlier this year and plans to expand Walmart.com's assortment to 5 million items. In addition, Walmart will distribute wristbands to shoppers waiting in line for special one-hour deals. These wristbands allow for customers to shop for other products while being assured of getting the items offered in the special deal. Walmart's Neighborhood Market brand is seeing some strong growth, according to a recent article on Retailing Today. Sales are particularly strong in the fresh grocery and adult beverages department. Walmart has been opening the stores at a fast pace. The article reports that 120 stores will open this year, and that Walmart plans to open 120 to 150 additional stores next year. Bloomberg reports that the National Labor Relations Board has released a statement claiming that Walmart took unlawful action against workers who participated in labor protests. The NLRB is pursuing a settlement with Walmart, which may include rehiring workers with back pay. Walmart leadership disagrees with the findings and is investigating its options. After a lengthy battle over minimum wage laws, Washington, D.C. is finally getting its first Walmart stores. And while shoppers may be excited about Walmart's low prices, other area residents are hoping that Walmart will give them a chance at employment. Slate reports that locals are clamoring for the 600 jobs that these stores will offer. As of this week, Walmart has fielded 23,000 employment applications, and the first store opens on December the 4th. In the wake of several fatal factory fires in Bangladesh, Walmart has been stepping up its monitoring of supplier manufacturing operations. Bloomberg reports that Walmart has released a list of 75 Bangladesh factories along with their safety standard reports. 2 factories on the list failed to improve their conditions, and Walmart is no longer working with these operations. And finally, one thing consumers can be thankful for this year: low prices on Thanksgiving staples. In a press release, Walmart noted that while the average cost of a traditional turkey dinner for 10 people in the United States is $49, the cost of the same ingredients at Walmart comes in at just under $35, a savings of 30%. In addition, Walmart shoppers who do spot lower prices at competing stores can take advantage of Walmart's Ad Match program, guaranteeing the lowest prices on items in their holiday shopping basket. Check out Walmart and supplier news as it is reported on walmartnewsnow.com. Joined now by our panel, Ken Simpson from Clorox and Andy Schuch from Harvest Group. Good morning, guys, and thanks for coming in.
Morning.
Ken, I want to start with you. Black Friday just around the corner, coming up next week. In fact, we're going to talk with Keith Anderson here in just a minute. But Walmart moving to do some things that they really haven't done before, and that's hand out those wristbands to try to do better crowd control, obviously trying to overcome some of the issues and opportunities they've had in the past. What's your take on that?
Well, it looks like to me that they're trying to manage the crowds better. But, you know, the whole Black Friday thing, I think what we're going to see there, what we're already seeing, is that they're becoming even more aggressive on getting those Black Friday sales. Why? Well, for one thing, they have one less week between Thanksgiving and Christmas than they normally have, so they need to get those sales right away. And competition. So competition is doing Black Friday type things earlier. They know that they need to get that lady's money before they spend it at somewhere else.
Right. Typically, it shows that whoever gets them early on kind of keeps them throughout the entire season.
Yeah. Well, and we'd also heard that with the bracelets, this might be a way. I think Walmart had talked to some stadium control people on how to kind of manage this whole program to make it safer. And if you've ever been in that Black Friday morning and waiting in line thing, it's so different from each store, no matter where you go and however you do it. And I think this is a nice, controlled way. If they can teach, I think they're teaching their associates. You said you were out in the stores.
Yeah, I was at the store this week in Atlanta, and they were actually having a store meeting, and they were walking through how they were going to hand out the wristbands and where the different associates needed to be for the different items that the customers are going to be.
And if it's successful, and if the consumers have a great shopping experience, I mean, I think Walmart would be the place you'd want to go next year. You know, that'd be the first place you want to go next year, because you could get the bracelet, shop around for some other things that you probably still need for your home.
Which I think is key for what Walmart's trying to do, because historically you go in on Black Friday and you have to stand there and you wait in the line. So you spend 2 hours, sometimes far more, waiting in line, doing nothing.
Well, and it disrupts the whole store, right? So a normal shopper that is maybe not even involved in this whole experience of Black Friday can't shop because you got all this mayhem going on around you. So I think it should be a much better shopping experience.
Well, plus you can go shop.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of standing in line.
So you're filling up the basket, which again is what Walmart is trying to do, is fill those baskets up. And
so
not just
that's good for the shopper, and it's good for Walmart.
Yeah. And talking about filling up the basket, Walmart expanding their online item count to over 5 million with .com. You think they're really going after Amazon in this, or why would they?
I think they have been for the whole year. I mean, they continue to ask suppliers to bring in more and more items and to continue filling up and having as many items as possible online. And I think that's just another example of it.
Yeah, well, I see it as Walmart wants to let people shop the way they want to shop. So some people want to shop online, then they're going to take care of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to switch subjects now. Washington, D.C. has been in the news a lot lately, not just because of Congress and some of the dysfunction that seems to be going on there, but more importantly, around the city of Washington, D.C., trying to keep out some of the big box retailers of wanting the minimum wage set at like $15. That's kind of that's been relaxed. Walmart is now moving into there. Came out this week that 23,000 people trying to get jobs and have applied at the Walmart store.
Yeah, at the Walmart store. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was for two stores that they were 23,000 people applied for. Yeah.
You know, the media keeps saying that nobody wants to work at Walmart, that the wages are too low. They've got this thing going on with the with Black Friday. They're going to be protesters, and they're going to be picketing the stores, and you wonder how many of those people are even actual Walmart employees, and aren't just hired by unions or whatever. Walmart offers a good job at a good wage for people who are starting off in their careers. And I mean, if my kids wanted to work at a Walmart store, I'd be proud for them to work there and kind of start off a career there. And I mean, I think it's just another example of people want jobs, and with 23,000 people wanting a job at Walmart out in D.C., I think it says a lot.
I worked for Walmart for a number of years, and store planning is one of the areas that I spent a lot of my time. And so I would set stores, new stores, remodel stores all across the country, and would always go back and talk to the personnel manager about hiring situations. And I was always amazed, even in California, which is kind of oftentimes seems anti-Walmart, that in a store that we were hiring 300 to 500 people, having close to 10,000 applicants. Now, many of them, probably half, were automatically put to no because they wouldn't either show up for the drug test or they couldn't pass their drug test. So I think you've got some of the people like that are still applying. But the fact that you've got that many folks coming in to apply for jobs, and in D.C., they're probably going to be super centers, they may be Division I stores, but regardless, you're looking at no more than 500 people. So 2 stores, 1,000, and 23,000 people applying. May not be as bad as what the media wants us to believe in terms of compensation.
Well, on the publicity front, I agree with what you're saying, that Walmart, they're a big company. Their stores are entrepreneurial. There are going to be issues, in that kind of situation. But I was at the Soderquist Center earlier this week, and I was there with a number of people from different geographies across the United States, and also they were in different lines of work. They weren't in consumer products. And as we talked about Walmart, and there were good things said about Walmart, some of them were like, well, all we hear are bad things.
Right.
And as they heard the good things, they say, yeah, there's two sides to this, or there's a lot more to this than we've been led to believe. And it was interesting. And you mentioned about being proud. So my son works for Walmart. I encouraged him to apply there, and it's been a very positive experience for him. Very positive.
Well, and Walmart, I was in operations for a number of years with Walmart as well, and I know that you have to support the market. And so obviously paying somebody in D.C., if Walmart has to pay $15 an hour to get someone in there, they will.
Right.
Now, you take that to the Midwest somewhere, if you're out in rural Kansas, you may not have to pay $15 an hour because of the job market. So I know in all of my travels and setting stores across the country, our starting wages fluctuated with the demands of the market.
Well, all companies do that. I mean, big CPG companies do that. I mean, if you're going to move to San Francisco, you're going to pay a lot different wage than you are if you're in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. You know, I think the whole DC thing is kind of interesting because you think about the political implications here. You know, for the first time, they're going to have stores around all these politicians.
Right.
And you know, I would guess that they're not moving into DC to make money.
No.
I mean, the labor, the cost of the land. I mean, I can't imagine actually that that's going to be a real profitable situation for them. But there will be politicians that will, for the first time, shop their stores.
Right. All right, Ken, thank you very much. Andy, thanks. Stay tuned because when we come back, we're going to talk with Keith Anderson. He's the Vice President of Retail Net Group, and we'll talk more about Black Friday when Saturday morning meeting continues coming up.
At Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, we can help your business meetings get out of the box. Way out of the box. With refreshing views of the museum's 120-acre grounds, breathtaking architecture, spacious meeting and presentation venues, and top-notch catering from 11, our award-winning restaurant, not to mention more than 400 works of art by American masters. Your meeting at Crystal Bridges will be anything but in the box. Call us today and let our team of professional event planners arrange your next meeting at Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art.
Today's show has been sponsored in part by 8th and Walton, the premier destination for Walmart supplier education. Since 2006, 8th and Walton's by suppliers for suppliers approach to education and services has helped thousands of supplier teams grow their business with Walmart. Visit 8thandwalton.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Saturday Morning Meeting, joined now by Keith Anderson, the Vice President of Retail Net Group. Keith, thanks for coming in this morning. Wanted to talk to you, we do this every year, but kind of talk about the importance of Black Friday and what that really means to retailers.
Well, I think as everybody knows, it's called Black Friday because historically in retail it was the day that many retailers entered the black. That is, they did so much volume that for the first time in their fiscal year they were reaching profitability. It is so important today because so much volume is compressed seasonally, and in a constrained liquidity environment like we're in now, it becomes zero-sum on some level. So retailers are competing for a very fixed number of shoppers with limited discretionary income. And winning those trips, which hopefully drive larger baskets beyond just the heavily promoted items, is essential to making the fourth quarter and making the year for a lot of retailers.
Which is going to be tough for Walmart this year. I mean, they obviously are putting a lot into this last quarter on Black Friday. Last two quarters for them, right? Really the entire year has not been great. Anything that you think that they should be doing? And we have that short window between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Well, I think Walmart has had a difficult year on the top line for a lot of reasons. There have been so many environmental changes that have made things difficult for them, and the fact that some of the everyday essentials, especially dry grocery, have been under pressure really makes things difficult because it's such a traffic and frequency driver. But the guidance for the fourth quarter has been that we'll see some improvement, and I think Walmart is doing a lot of the right things. Their price gaps are very competitive. They're at 35 to 40% gaps. They're keeping pace with Amazon in some of the really key categories like electronics and toys. And Walmart offers the industry-leading options for flexible fulfillment, in my opinion. That is, the ability to order online and have it delivered to your doorstep or pick it up in store, now even same day in a lot of categories. One other quick point, they are also, for the heavily promoted items, increasing stock levels in store, which is a bit of a shift from last year. It does put their inventory levels at a bit of risk in this fourth quarter, but it's probably the right move.
The good thing is they're going to have a little bit of time to sell that off because it doesn't until January.
Yep, absolutely.
How do suppliers factor into this? Because if Walmart or retailers are going to be making money on Black Friday, the suppliers certainly have got a lot invested in trying to help Walmart attain those goals, but did they do it at a loss? What's the strategy?
Some do it at a loss on individual items, but there's no manufacturer that doesn't have a portfolio of products that they're trying to sell through the period. The same seasonal compression that we talked about for retailers is even more pronounced for a lot of manufacturers, especially toy makers. You know, they are balancing everyday occasions, small rewards for kids, birthday celebrations, but the most predictable season starts now. And so there's huge pressure on forecasting and replenishment and working with retailers like Walmart to design programming that really changes shopper behavior.
Do you think a lot of toy companies have kind of put a lot on this holiday? I mean, the summer was not great for some of the toy manufacturers because we had, for the most part across the country, a cool summer. So some of those warmer weather toys didn't really move. I know there were some retailers, including Walmart, that were setting on excess inventory in toys. Does that hurt them going into the Christmas?
I don't know that the past necessarily hurts them. I think a lot of toy categories are driven by titles and media releases and that sort of thing, and it's been a reasonably good year for that. What I think is going to be really important during this period is just execution at this point. The plans have been set for a very long time. The retailers, Walmart included, are doing what they can to influence shoppers, but if things aren't perfectly executed, then there's money left on the table.
Do you think Black Friday is kind of becoming blurred with Thursday? And what does that look like going forward?
Yeah, starting 2 years ago when the first retailer started opening on Thanksgiving, we've already seen a huge spike in shoppers that actually do shop on Thanksgiving. So moving to 8 p.m. and then this year 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day is definitely an attempt to capture shoppers in their limited budgets a little bit earlier. And even this phenomenon of Cyber Monday, we see shifting a little bit earlier into the weekend. So the relevance of Friday itself is in decline, and it is all because retailers know they are competing for a very fixed sum.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll come back and have more with Keith Anderson when the Saturday Morning Meeting continues.
Cameron Smith & Associates is suppliers' first choice in recruiting the competitive Walmart supplier job market. We connect qualified candidates to CPG jobs in Northwest Arkansas and across the country. CSA also sources sales and marketing professionals for companies providing advertising, marketing, merchandising, and data management services to suppliers. Contact us today at csarecruiters.com.
Today's show has been sponsored in part by 8th & Walton, the premier destination for Walmart supplier education. 8th & Walton offers a variety of services including new supplier onboarding, scorecard optimization, and analysis and reporting. Visit 8thandwalton.com/services to learn more.
Welcome back to Saturday Morning Meeting. Continuing our conversation with Keith Anderson from Retail Net Group. We were just talking about how Thursdays are kind of getting blurred with Fridays. But I want to go a little bit further in terms of the categories. Who do we really see, or what categories in particular do we really expect to be big winners this holiday season?
Well, the classic categories that tend to be heavily gifted are things like electronics, toys, apparel, and I think the new gaming console releases are something everybody's watching closely. Stock levels are incredibly constrained. It seems like Microsoft has more Xbox One consoles available than Sony with its PS4. But for a lot of the software manufacturers, the attach rates are so important to these launch releases. So as a trip driver, there's huge attention on those, and the pre-orders have already sold out across retail. One of the biggest questions I think Walmart and others face this holiday season is whether shoppers are going to be spending heavily on those classic categories or if they're going to be allocating those funds for bigger durable goods like appliances. Okay. Households are trying to manage energy consumption, and they've been deferring a lot of those big purchases. So the possibility that people are going to be upgrading aspects of their home, hopefully with things purchased at retail, is something pretty important to pay attention to.
It's also some rebates on some of those larger appliances.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about gift cards? I mean, that's a big deal, and a lot of people are moving to those gift cards. What's the importance for retailers with the gift cards?
Well, gift cards are financially a beautiful thing because you get the money up front, and while the laws have changed a bit to limit breakage, which is when somebody buys a gift card and then maybe it expires before the recipient gets to use it, they are beautiful because by definition you get the money early, and secondly you trigger the return trip for the recipient. So there continues to be innovation in the way gift cards are presented, the flexibility people have to use them, electronic delivery and things like that, and it's a massive pillar of holiday strategy.
I want to shift a little bit. K-Mart, Sears Holding really started very early this year. I think their Christmas ad started in September. That's talking about a company who's not really in a great financial position. They've kind of been on the decline for the last couple of years. Where do you see things going for Sears Holdings?
Well, I think Sears has been forward-looking in some of their ideas. They were the ones to bring layaway back a few years ago in the context of holiday. I think the upside for their competitors is Sears is not investing very much, if anything, in their stores. And so they have a lot of interesting ideas that can be better executed by competition. So to me, the outlook for Sears, these retailers always take longer to perish than observers sometimes expect. And it really boils down to the leadership under Eddie Lampert. He is selling off some of their most profitable assets, investing in their digital businesses, not in brick and mortar, and it really puts them in a deleveraging scenario.
And when we talk about the assets that they have, are we talking the real estate or are we talking some of the brands? Because I know one of the things that they were looking at a couple of years ago was spinning off the Kenmore brands, spinning off the Craftsman brands so that stores like Home Depot and Walmart would pick those brands up and it just become a branded product. Are those the type of things they're selling off?
Well, it's both. So they're going to spin off the Land's End chain into its own company. And they've considered, as you noted, some of the brands that they might be able to sell into other retailers, but they're also selling some of their more profitable brick and mortar assets. They have sold properties in Canada. They've sold properties in the U.S., including some of their most productive stores. And so the idea that they are ultimately going to have deep value as maybe just a real estate company is starting to fall into question.
So who do you think picks them up or tries to acquire some of those?
I think anybody who still runs a profitable big box format is a candidate for that real estate, but they're going to have to be very selective. Nobody is investing aggressively in square footage expansion in the biggest buildings, at least not significantly. And so opportunistically, I'm sure there will be some really prime locations worth picking up. But I think Sears' overall footprint remains anchored in sort of tier 2, tier 3, often tier 4 malls that are really under pressure for traffic.
Okay, real quick, we got 30 seconds. Who are the big retailer winners this holiday season coming out of Black Friday?
I think, Walmart and Amazon seem very well positioned. They're both very competitive on price. They've got selection. And I think Walmart in particular offers a lot of flexibility. Target, I think, is a little bit challenged, only because they're just introducing a lot of these options that shoppers we know prefer.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Keith. Thank you, and we will be right back with Saturday Morning Meeting.
GigWalk is an on-demand mobile workforce that can collect data and do work at retail. Businesses use GigWalk for retail audits, merchandising, and much more. With 350,000 smartphone-enabled workers available on demand, you get unprecedented speed and coverage across the U.S., Canada, and the UK. And all work is reviewed for quality and accuracy. Visit gigwalk.com to learn more.
Today's show has been sponsored in part by 8th & Walton, the premier destination for Walmart supplier education. 8th & Walton offers a variety of services including new supplier onboarding, scorecard optimization, and analysis and reporting. Visit 8thandwalton.com/services to learn more.
I want to thank our guests for joining us, and we want to hear from you. Email us your questions, comments, or suggestions Saturday at 8thandwalton.com. And then be sure to join us next week for our Black Friday special. Our guest will be Ryan Frazier of Data Rank. He'll be watching all of the social media output in aggregate to see how retailers, categories, and lines are performing that day. We'll also show you some of the reasons behind consumers' behavior. Why did they skip a certain store? This is a show, a must-see for everyone in retail. It's all coming up next week. We'll see you next Saturday morning.